You have now finally reached the very last type of verb. This is the lastest type of verb that we shall be covering. Yeah, regular, irregular, modal, separable, inseparable. Now on the last type, which is the reflexive verbs. Okay. Now this topic here, they've just covered it briefly. We shall be seeing it again under the cases of nouns, yeah? That is majorly in A2, mostly covered in A2, yeah? But this one here, they just covered briefly. Don't worry if you don't get it correctly, yeah? So, reflexive verbs. Now, let's begin with the name reflexive. The name reflexive. Now, this word has been taken from the word reflect, okay? Reflect, meaning that these are verbs reflecting on an action you do to yourself. Look at that. They are verbs that reflect on an action you do to yourself. They always begin with the reflexive pronoun sich. Now remember, these ones are specifically reflexive verbs. They are verbs that reflect on an action you do to yourself. They always begin with the reflexive pronoun sich. That's how you know them, yeah? Whenever I write them, we write with sich and then the verb. There are direct and indirect reflexive pronouns. We call them direct and indirect. Let's begin with the first one, direct reflexive pronouns. We mostly categorize them under accusative. I know now at this point you still don't understand accusative and dative. As I said, don't worry. It's a topic we shall be seeing again in details, where we shall be talking in depth about accusative and dative. Yeah. So at this point, just know direct and indirect. Okay. So they're telling you that direct reflexive pronouns, which we also call them accusative, it involves doing something yourself. Doing something yourself. So under ish, we use mish. Ish, we use mish, myself. Do, dish, right? So ish is mish, do is dish. And then you have as s. So ish, mish means myself, yeah? Do, dish. As s, zish. So under as s, we use zish, which can mean himself, herself, or itself. Z, we use zish. Wir, we use uns. And then is euch. Sie is sich, themselves. Sie, sich. So you're seeing most of them have sich. Yeah? Ich, mich, du, dich. Es is sich, sie, sich. Wir, uns. Is euch. Sie is sich, and then sie, sich. Okay? Like in the example you have here, sich waschen. Now, sich waschen is to bathe, right? Sich waschen. I know you saw behind there, waschen alone was to wash, right? Waschen alone, to wash. But sich waschen now is to bathe. So how do you conjugate it? Ich wasche mich. Ich wasche mich. Du wäschst dich. So, ich wasche mich. Du wäschst dich. Sie es wäscht sich. So we are just conjugating as usual, but the only difference is that we're now adding the mich and the dich, etc. Sie waschen sich. Wir waschen uns. Ihr wascht euch. Then you have sie waschen sich. Sie waschen sich. All right? All right, then. So some other examples include sich ärgern. Now, sich ärgern is to get annoyed. Sich ärgern, to get annoyed. So how do you conjugate? Ich ärgere mich. Ich ärgere mich. Du ärgerst dich. Du ärgerst dich. Es ärgert sich. Sie ärgern sich. Wir ärgern uns. Ihr ärgert euch. Then sie ärgern sich. Sie ärgern sich. So let me now give you some other examples of the reflexive verbs. We have like sich ändern. Sich ändern, to change or look different. So I conjugate the same way. Ich ändere mich. Du änderst dich. Es ändert sich. Sie ändern sich. wir ändern uns as you get to proceed in that order. So some other examples. Sich rasieren. Go ahead and attempt them here. You could attempt conjugating them. Sich rasieren, to shave. The other one is sich interessieren für. Look at that. Sich interessieren für, which now means to be interested in. Sich interessieren für, to be interested in. All right, so how do you conjugate this one again? So I will conjugate it as follows. You would say ich, then the verb, interessiere. Take your time. Ich interessiere mich für. A very complicated one, yeah? Right, I'm trying to bring you the most complicated ones so that you now get comfortable as early as now conjugating them, yeah? Look at that. So you say this. Ich interessiere mich für. I am interested in. Du interessierst dich für. Es interessiert sich für. Sie interessieren sich für. Wir interessieren uns für. Sie interessieren sich für. And then sie interessieren sich für. It is in that order, okay? Some other examples are sich vorstellen, to introduce oneself. Sich vorstellen. I'd like you to pause here and attempt this one, to just pause the video here and then attempt this one. Okay, let's now see how you've attempted it. Now, if you conjugate this sich vorstellen, it will be like this. Ich. Now, I hope you remember that vor is a separable prefix, yeah? For is, now this is a bit complicated, yeah? For is separable. So what you do, you remove the for, you put at the end because it's a separable prefix, and then you remain the stellen. So you say, ich stelle mich vor. Ich stelle mich vor. Du stellst dich vor. So ich stelle mich vor. Du stellst dich vor. Sie, es stellt sich vor, in that order. Sie stellen sich vor as you proceed in that order. To be worried. To be worried, the verb is sich, capital S, Sorgen machen. Sich Sorgen machen. So also try and attempt this one. Yes, it is now. Ich mache mich Sorgen. Du machst dich Sorgen. Es macht sich Sorgen, in that order. Okay, the other one is sich freuen. Sich freuen, to be pleased. The other one is sich beschäftigen, to be busy. Sich beschäftigen. Then you have sich betrinken. Sich betrinken, to be drunk. And then the last one is sich entspannen. Sich entspannen, to have fun. So those are some of the examples of reflexive verbs. And then I'd like us to go ahead and see number 2, indirect reflexive verbs. Indirect. Now, you're about to see that these second ones are not so different with the first ones. They're just the same. It is only in ish and do that is changing. Kindly note that, yeah? That there's not so much difference between the direct and indirect reflexive verbs. The only difference is in ish and do only. So let's now see them, the indirect reflexive verbs. These involves doing something for yourself. Doing something for yourself. Mostly affects a specific body part, e.g. washing hands, washing face, washing legs. It affects only a specific body part. Now, in this case, they are as follows. Look at how they are now. Now, as I told you, that are the same as the ones we just seen above. It is only in ish and do that is changing. Now, ish, we're now using mir. Do, we're now using dir. But the rest are just like the other ones. Es, sich. Sie, sich. Wir ist uns. Ist euch. Sie ist sich. And then sie ist sich. As I told you, don't worry, it's a topic that we'll be seeing again under the topic of cases of nouns, whereby we'll be seeing more clearly what they are in reference to, okay? So that is it. That is all under the reflexive verbs. There's an exercise to test on how you've understood. In the exercise, you're being told like this: fill in the correct reflexive pronouns. Fill in the correct reflexive pronouns. And then you have mich, mir, dich, dir, sich, euch, uns. So they'd like us to fill this one here with the correct reflexive pronouns. So let me just put the exercise here on the screen. I believe you can see it, yeah? So I would like you to go ahead and attempt this one here. You can just pause and then try filling in. After you've done filling in, kindly come back and play it again so that we now mark as you find out how much you've scored, okay? Okay, let's now mark together then. Let's now go ahead and mark. Look at number 1. Deloitte. They've used Leute. Leute are people, plural, right? And the people, they fall under the plural of es, that is sich, yeah? So you should say, die Leute waschen sich. Die Leute waschen sich morgens und abends. How about number 2? Wir waschen das auch. They've used the verb, the personal pronoun wir. So in wir, as we know very well, is normally uns, right? So you say, wir waschen uns. Wir waschen uns. Okay? And then number 3, wo kann ich das die Hände waschen? And I can see they're asking, where can I wash the hands? A specific body part. Where can I wash the hands? Specifically, I want to wash a specific body part, my hands. And he said for washing a specific body part, we now use the indirect. So in ich now becomes mir. Wo kann ich mir die Hände waschen? Okay? Wo kann ich mir? Let's go to number 4. Sie können, I just see sie. I remember sie is just sich. So, sie können sich die Hände im Bad waschen. Sie können sich die Hände im Bad waschen. You can wash the hands in the bathroom. And then I have number 5. Ich putze dash die Zähne dash. Now, Zähne is teeth. Zähne, teeth. And then putze is to brush. I am brushing a specific body part. And now that one you use mir. Ich putze mir die Zähne. I am brushing my teeth. And then I have number 6. Sie sollen, now, I just see sie, I know it's sich. Sie sollen sich einen Wagen kaufen. How about du? Du bewirbst. Bewirbst is to enroll. I mean, to apply. So the sentence means you are applying eine neue Stelle. You are applying for a new position. You are applying for a new position. So du is normally dich. Du bewirbst dich eine neue Stelle. Du bewirbst dich eine neue Stelle. How about er? You remember er is normally sich, yeah? Er, sie, es, sich. Er bestellt sich. Er bestellt sich 4 Gläser Bier. Er bestellt sich 4 Gläser Bier. He is ordering himself 4 glasses of beer. And then, das Kind wünscht, the child is under es, right? Sich. So, das Kind wünscht sich einen Teddy. The child is wishing for himself a teddy bear. Okay, let's take the last one. Ihr sollt, now under ihr is euch. Ihr sollt euch entspannen. Ihr sollt euch entspannen. Okay, so that said and done, let me tell you that you are now successfully approved, that you have cleared the verbs. The topic on verbs completely comes to the end. All the verbs. Okay? Now remember when we were beginning, I told you this is the backbone of any language, verbs. So there is no harm in you replaying all the videos on verbs and then also doing research, getting as many other verbs as possible. I believe you are able to download the dictionary, right? Now, there's this dictionary, the one that you downloaded, you are able to search a word even in English. Maybe you want to search some other verbs in English, and then it gives you in German. Yeah? To watch, to dance, to play, to pray, to go, to listen. So try to know as many of them as you possibly can, because as I told you, for any language, if you know verbs, then you are on the right track to be able to form sentences. Okay. Okay, then. So that brings you to the end of the topic. Let me say, das ist alles, meaning that the next time we shall be seeing each other, we will be introducing a new topic. All right? Das ist alles. Tschüss.